Right, let's react to this funny video now. I hope it's funny. If it's not funny, what is the point anymore?
Bardam's Metal was a dungeon in Stormblood that had a unique boss that featured a series of mechanics that needed to be executed correctly by at least one party member. This battle had direct instantaneous feedback on if you passed or failed, and you couldn't damage the boss, so you didn't really have to worry about damage rotations in this instance. We'll talk about this.
I fucking hated this dungeon because I was still a new player when I was doing this dungeon, and I didn't know how some of these mechanics or how snapshots work in this game. I messed up every round. Sometimes I would be with other new players and we would wipe. I shit you not. So I hate this fight specifically.
A little bit later in the video. But this Bardam's Metal boss fight is, in my humble opinion, one of the best designed main story questline bosses in all of Final Fantasy XIV.
Why?
Do I want more difficult content? Yeah, I do. Do I want to spend more time healing than doing damage? Yeah, of course I do. Given the rise of the healer strike hashtag, talk of job complexity, and the ask for difficulty and general content being increased, which, to be super clear, I am fully in support of for myself. I feel like we really, however, need to talk about systems.
Do you think Cole is gonna be on strike as well? Since he's fully in support of it? Chances are he's not gonna be. The moment Dontrell comes out, he's gonna show footage of him doing Dontrell shit.
In the game. In my opinion, this is more than essential talk that we need to have. I don't think it's fair to set people up for failure by not providing them the tools in-game to improve, and I believe that this is why we saw the new level 91 dungeon be cleared by Xeno right beside me during the media tour with literally no healers. Because we have set that bar so low for so long, literally a decade at this point, and we simply have had so many people that couldn't tell you even half of what their kit does on their jobs that they supposedly made. And I wanted to say to myself, wait.
What is this fucking shade he's throwing? Hold on, let me hear this out again.
And we simply have had so many people that couldn't tell you even half of what their kit does on their jobs that they supposedly made. And
Supposedly, what is this shade he's throwing? Who's catching strays here?
I wanted to say to myself, wait, is that an exaggeration? But I really don't. Genuinely, from what I've experienced in...
Like, he starts talking about the healing strike, and then, like, about the difficulty of dungeons, and then we have some players that don't even know what their tooltips do, and they say they're made that job. It's like, why were you throwing shade at random people here? Colex just never fucking stays on topic, does he? Is it the same person who was talking about his own drama while never showing information that matters along with crying and eating chocolate? Yeah, this is Cole. He had a whole video where he started the video with "my fiance cheated on me," then he self-reported himself flirting with other people, then he just never got to the point at which point his fiance cheated on him, because that was just brought up once at the very start. And this is like a conversation where he was talking about him clearing like some savage fights, right? It was a mess. And yes, there were, like, I do remember myself getting angry that there was like noises of like candy wrappers and like, yeah, it was not a good video at the time.
Game. I don't think that's an exaggeration for so many players. So if we want to seriously debate and seriously argue ramping up the healing difficulty in this game amongst other difficulties being increased, of course.
Why does everyone talk about fucking difficulty? Make playing healers fun. Then it doesn't matter which difficulty, it should be fun to play healer. It shouldn't be specific. Why does everyone talk about ramping up the difficulty? Why does taking more damage equal more fun to these people? I don't understand. What the fuck is up with Cole and Zepla?
Of course, it's not just healers here. We need to talk about leveling up the player base's skill set through the main content pipeline, which would be the MSQ that everyone needs to get funneled through. This
No, what the fuck? We should train all player base to get better. People should do MSQ and get better. Am I getting this point correctly? Hold on.
not just healers here. We need to talk about leveling up the player base's skill set through the main content pipeline, which would be the MSQ that everyone needs to get funneled through. This is a perfect pipeline to introduce stuff to people. Take this mitigation sheet for the Epic of Alexander, and I'm bringing this specifically up as it's something that I've cleared over 20 times, and
This is not your shit, is it? I've seen this shit. That's not even made for you. This is literally made for Party Finder, isn't it? No, I recognize this shit. This is literally LPD. This is literally a LPDU mid sheet for clearing the Party Finder. Why is he bringing this up here? It's not even as complicated as you think this is, by the way.
I adore this fight and it's comfort food for me, and so I'm confident I can talk about it. You can clearly see that there are a ton of cooldowns being used by healers and tanks. I'm gonna have another screenshot somewhere during the video showing like what the DPS need to contribute to, which is also super important. Like, looking at this, when...
But you were... What the fuck? Chad, am I bugging, or... He's showing what was already shown. Hold on. No, yeah, there's melee on the over there, and tanks on the left.
Being used by
Why is he showing another screenshot of the same thing?
Somewhere during the video showing like what the DPS need to contribute to.
Okay, he was just missing physical range and casters. He could have just, you know, zoomed out and just showed the entire bit. Whatever.
Which is
I don't
also
know.
super
Whatever.
important. Like, looking at this, when is the last time most players even saw a...
Well, again, why do these players fucking compare dungeons to ultimate rate? This is actually just making me angry now. Why do they keep comparing? Like, Zelda fucking compared the normal dungeons to DSR. This motherfucker's compared normal dungeons to T. Is there Nisi in T in any dungeons? I know there's Nisi in T, but is there Nisi in any dungeons? I'm trying to think right now. Why are these people comparing this shit?
A scholar cast recitation excogitation. Or heck, in the first phase, we literally use dissipate as something other than a 3 energy drain spam DPS cooldown. What?
Am I... Hold on.
Cast recitation excogitation. Or heck, in the first phase, we literally use dissipate as something other than a 3 energy drain spam DPS cooldown. What? We're actually using dissipation for a heal and to actually do stuff like that? What?
Oh wait, hold on. Dissipate not used for energy drain spam. Dissipate, yeah, because you need increased healing for, especially for Cascade. What the fuck? Wait, hold on. He is talking about using dissipation for other than energy. See, this is what I fucking meant last time. That Cole just doesn't look into his jobs. He just kind of follows the strats and then just kind of treats it as just like Party Finder experience where you freestyle. I keep telling people that dissipation is such a strong fucking tool in any content. This is not used for energy drain spam. I hope he fucking put this text understanding that. It is there for cooldown mitigation and as well as increased healing. Also, this is wrong. This is fucking wrong. You're gonna have Aether Flow stacks to use here shortly after. Dissipation is there to help with the cascade. What the fuck? What the fuck, Cole? Because, like, Proteans, like, happen after a while. They don't immediately happen. Wait, hold on. I'm thinking right now. This is like the end of P1, yeah. So you do cascades, that's transition. You also then dispel. And then, yeah, you have enough time. You're going to have Aetherflow stacks. Dissipation is not used for this. Motherfucker. Why does he never look into his own fucking material?
If I'm in an expert dungeon, I'm lucky to even see the scholar cast Seraph even once, or a lustrate. And yet, it's in this MIT sheet, this recitation excog can
He's comparing, again, dungeons to fucking ultimate.
consistently over and over again just for healing the tank in the Epic of Alexander as they get ravaged like it's furry art on Twitter. The reality is, the difference between an expert roulette and a savage raid or beyond is staggering, and while I get that there is a significant middle ground between them, and I agree, we need that missing middle in terms of content, We have a massive failing in the game right now. The overwhelming majority of players, I bet, couldn't even tell you 80% of what the skills on this mitigation sheet are, or what they do, or why they're being used at the times that they are.
That's not true. That's not true.
The overwhelming majority of players, I bet, couldn't even tell you 80% of what the skills on this mitigation sheet are, or what they do, or why they're being used at the times that they.
Not 80%, but like newer players maybe. People who haven't played those jobs maybe. But if you've raided for a while, someone will tell you, oh man, Benny. They know they're talking about, benediction and not venison. If someone says assize, etc., it's like if you raid long enough, actively enough, if you just do content, it doesn't matter if you do savage or not. If you do normal raids, if you do extremes, you're gonna know what all of this is. Maybe not all of it, but for example, sage spells, because they're all in fucking Greek. But it's like people know what the fuck these spells are. I don't know where the fuck the stat even comes from. Can you show where the stat came from? Because otherwise, he's just calling. What is with him just somehow throwing shade at people being less skilled, and then comparing dungeons to ultimate dungeons? Sorry, ultimate raids.
They are. And don't tell me that I'm wrong, because I'm so often I'm shown
You're wrong.
tanks that just flat out don't mitigate at all, like they're allergic to their own toolkit. They're like, oh, rampart, oh my god, vengeance, blood wedding. Or heck, not that I want to go back to the mit sheet again, but look at the DPS and tanks and look at all the times that they should be ideally contributing to mitigate the damage for the party. It's like pulling teeth to get this in general. So back to Barnum's Medal and that awesome dungeon.
Like, yeah, again, I don't know why you're still. Why does he keep comparing normal dungeons to ultimates? Yeah, there is a mid sheet, because they need to use those, depending on their responsibility. Showing footage of T, so back to the dungeon. Yeah, I know. It's like, what is with these content creators specifically using ultimate raids as a fucking excuse?
You'd best believe that I think that we should have a lot more dungeons in the main story quest line, which is that main pipeline all players are forced through, that are going to be filled with bosses and encounters.
Also, hold on. Why are you not baiting the Protean? Hold on. This is like the start of the fight, right?
Look at the DPS and tanks own toolkit. They're like,
Yeah. There's the transition.
Oh my god, vengeance, blood wedding. Or heck, not that I want to go back to the mit sheet again, but look at the DPS
Okay,
and tanks
ads
and
appeared.
look
This
at
is
all the
P1.
times
This
that
is
they
the
should be
very start.
ideally contributing to mitigate the damage for the party. It's like pulling teeth.
Why is he not baiting the Protean? Am I bugging? Am I missing something? Is he... Okay, whatever.
Get this in general. So back to Barnum's Medal and that awesome dungeon. You'd best believe that I think that we should have a lot more dungeons in the main story quest line, which is that main pipeline.
You just sucker two players next to him?
All
He's
players are
he's spamming sucker.
forced through that are going to be
Did he even reach that ninja? He didn't reach the ninja even.
filled with bosses and
He's just spamming sucker. What the fuck is he talking about though?
encounters similar to this. Obviously not the exact same one. Teach different things, please. Whether we want to admit it or not as a community, we have so many players literally dead starfish their way all the way to level 90. And if allowed to...
Including you at this point, by the looks of it. What am I looking at? Are you sure this is him playing?
You darn
Cole Evix in the list.
well bet that they're
Unless this is the other Cole Evix. I don't know.
going to do it to level 100 too. I'll cite a Twitter post here where a player who came to Final Fantasy XIV recently experienced the Hall of the Novice and that they said that they weren't prepared by it to go into the main game.
Why are we talking about Hall of the Novice? So this... Okay, let's give this the benefit of the doubt. Let's read. I think that's where you do a series of instances that teach you basic things. You mean the Smith? Is that Hall of the Novice? As someone who had literally never played an MMO before and truthfully had no idea what a tank even was before Final Fantasy XIV, and picked Warrior because me like Big Axe, the Hall of the Novice unacceptably bad at teaching the core mechanics of the game. No, so it is the Smith. Essentially, I'm not. I was wrong, but it is essentially the Smith, the one where you do a number of basic fucking quests at level 15, and you get gear, as well as a ring that helps you level to level 30. Okay, we've established that I was wrong on what the Hall of the Novice is. Okay, and I am not bad at video games. Lamafau. I have played every single mainline FF game except 11 before this. I'm not even new to multiplayer games. I play Smash Bros. Competitively and stuff. Okay. Final Fantasy XIV itself was bad at teaching me what an MMO was and how it works. Not even all MMOs work the same anyway. But yeah, it is wild how little thought went into preparing an effective tutorial for what is now surely the most popular multiplayer game in the world. My friends taught me how to play, and I was fucking lucky to make them early on. I'm not an inconsiderate person, and if I had known my skill level would directly impact others' experience of the game and that the in-game tutorial was not enough to communicate what the fuck was going on, I would have definitely sought outside guides, but I was not warned of this. Do I get discouraged in place are cute and all, but not worry, I have a mentor crown now. It looks like, okay, fellas, I'm out of line for wanting, am I out of line for wanting to play the game I pay $15 a month for instead of spending time using the search engine that's going to tell me to eat glue? I mean, like, I do agree that the Smith, essentially, as we found out, that's the Hall of the Novice. It's not good at teaching things that some players need to fucking know, because it's very outdated. It's literally for people who need to learn something at level 15 or level 30. How to DPS, dodge AoEs, basic shit. It is very outdated. But like, she's not really bringing up any examples of what specifically she needs to learn. I have brought this up a lot of times that Square Enix need to fucking teach. Like the Final Fantasy XIV just doesn't teach you a lot of fucking things about this game, and I do agree on the point that the game should be teaching you a lot of the things, snapshots, types of damage, like a lot of this stuff, types of healing, like a lot of the new mechanics keep coming in every expansion. It's like we need to kind of learn what the fuck they do. What does this purple tether do? Do I need to stretch it? What's happening? The game is not really teaching us much, but like the Hall of the Novice, it's very basic. It should teach more things, but it's not there to do that. And I have suggested that they need to like introduce a new level of Hall of the Novice every fucking 10 levels for every expansion, for any new mechanics that they introduce, specifically for newer players. And they need to make that mandatory. They need to improve how they teach players. I do agree on that. But this is like, you're upset that you're paying $15 a month while you had to Google some stuff. Yeah, sure. Some people do teach. Like, essentially, the player base will teach you the more complicated stuff. Hell, like, if anyone is watching this stream, the best thing you need to check, instead of Googling lots of weird shit, find a Oriza's rating fundamentals and unconveyed info in Final Fantasy XIV's engine. This is a bit outdated because it's been written in Shadowbringers. No, like in early Endwalker, right? But this has a lot of fucking good fundamentals. Snapshots are going to be explained to you. Collision mechanics, how mitigation works, types of mitigation, some older references are going to be mentioned. Oriza is a phenomenal person to explain this. They don't stream anymore, which is a shame. Like debuff passing, like a lot of this stuff is going to be very explained. So like put this on your phone and like read through this. Dynamo, chariot, like a lot of this like terminology as well, exaflare, shared sentence, markers as well are going to be explained. Everything. This is the best place to check this out. I promise you, like check this shit out. As well as Config Guide for Sprouts by Stall. This is for new players by another Hind Raider, who is specifically there for made a guide for Sprouts. So these two guides, I'll leave a link under the video. Check them out. I promise you, you will not regret Because like even like people who are high end, like even I was high end, and I still learned a lot of the stuff from this particular guide, right? Like I didn't know that block comes before parry, for example. Breath, like darkness damage can be mitigated by soil, but cannot be mitigated by Caracoli. Like I learned that after specifically reading guides like this. So I'm gonna leave the link to both of these guys down below. I'm gonna leave whatever socials these people have. I don't think Oriza is very active because I believe she's busy. Stahl is around. She streams very comfortably, or usually farming games, but she's also a very good place to ask for help. So if you need help, specifically check out these guys. But like, let's go back to the video. I do agree that the game needs to help players figure out the game a bit better because there's so much fucking depth to the game. But come the fuck on. There's a lot of games that don't fucking teach you even this. World of Warcraft is not going to teach you any fucking basics. A lot of these games don't fucking teach you any basics. Guild Wars is going to teach you how to dodge roll. And that's it. Everything else is pretty much done. Yeah, it's like I'm thankful that there is at least half the novice, so they have something to actually improve on in the future. But let's be fucking realistic. If you're paying money for a monthly fee of a game, you're also a fucking adult. Read your tooltips.
Seamlessly integrated into the game. I understand why it wasn't and that there was a lot of constraints in the past, but going forward, this definitely should be something considered as being added into the MSQ. Okay, time to turn up the spice a little bit. Like, why don't we have, especially with the new trust system, a way that new tanks can be forced, and yeah, I do say it, forced to learn how to mitigate in Final Fantasy XIV. Like, if someone goes in on Warrior, show them the difference that Vengeance makes to their survival versus Bloodwetting, or the value of Reprisal and Shake It Off to help mitigate the party.
What the fuck is this suggestion? This just goes back to what I was saying earlier. You're a grown-ass fucking person. Read your fucking tooltips. I feel like you can guess that 30% might be bigger than 10. 30% damage mitigation might be a bit better than, I don't know, 10% and some healing. You can read the duration of the cooldowns as well. It's like, if you don't read your fucking tooltips, like, this is a bad suggestion because it essentially insinuates that nobody reads their fucking tooltips. You don't need to force people to do some, mental exercises in a dungeon to learn their jobs. You can force them to read their fucking tooltips.
Or while I know that it's less desired for sure to have the developers explicitly recommend a rotation for a DPS, World of Warcraft many years ago implemented a system where you'd go through a very basic tutorial, which I do believe should be expanded on if it came to 14, but it would give you in World of Warcraft...
That tutorial does nothing. That tutorial does nothing. The tutorial just starts with, like, you can click on this. Please go kill 5 rats. Can you please get me 16 bear asses? Bring that over. Cool. You can click on this person if you want to talk to them. Cool. Tutorial over. Go adventure. Those tutorials are ass. Both the old ones and the new, whatever shore that they added in the BFA. They're so ass. They don't teach you anything.
Craft a basic tutorial on the class and spec that you chose to preview, and I found that myself very useful because I had not...
Class preview? No, there is a class preview, but it just only gives you one spec. It puts you at max level and just gives you your rotation. There's not even a rotation anymore. Like, they even removed something that was actually useful. Back in Legion, you could open your spell book, and there was like a little, like, a tab at the bottom. You could click on it and it would give you like some basic understanding of the skills you use and how you should use them, like if something procs, etc., depending on your spec. But they removed that. Now they don't have any tutorials, barely any. Like, they have some starting areas, but those starting areas are literally just like go eat and kill some seagulls and bring me their Kadishka or whatever the fuck. I don't know what Cole is even talking about.
Not really played World of Warcraft before that. What I'm saying here is have the basic fundamentals of a job taught to players. Like, if you play Ninja, and note, I picked a harder example here because of the ninjutsu system and all the different mudra combinations, but For the ninja, if you wanted that player to execute every ninjutsu a few times so that they would understand what a katan is versus a doton in an AoE pull and how they would interact differently. Or how you'd have that ninja player learn the fundamental fact that they want to stack their mug abilities damage boost on a target with their personal trick attack boost to take down an enemy even faster, and maybe even put it on the timer and show them.
What the fuck? Hold on. Let's start from the start. I think I'm
Shows to preview, and I found that myself very useful because I had not really played World of Warcraft before that. What I'm saying,
the reason I'm confused is because I'm currently debating between Samurai and Ninja, and I've practiced I raided on Ninja back in Shadowbringer. I've done Yukawa and Samurai, so I've practiced and learned both of the jobs, and something just doesn't click with what the fuck he just said. So give me a sec.
here is have the basic fundamentals of a job taught to players. Like if you play Ninja, and note I picked a harder example here because of the ninjutsu system.
Ninja's not the harder example though. Like Monk would be maybe. Black Mage maybe, but like Ninja's not one of the harder examples.
And all the different mudra combinations, but for the ninja,
All the different mudra combinations. If we're strictly speaking about late game, your max level, this is not needed. This is not needed. You're already 2 spells down. This can be, you cast it just before the pull and you just maintain it with 2 buttons, either the combo or with Huragen. So this is kind of not important for a person to kind of learn to keep his buff up. This is for AoE, so that's just dungeon content. This is AoE, so dungeon content. Everything else is pretty much, Suiton just allows you to activate trick attack. So like most of the spells are just like very situational. Sure, you need to learn the combination, but the combinations are in the tooltip. So again, read your fucking tooltip. Like, Hyosho is just Hyoton, just under Kasatsu. Same with Goka, it's just Katon under Kasatsu. So these spells also don't really count, because you're going to be using them under Kasatsu specifically. Like, mudras are just not that difficult. Mudras are literally, like, what do you start a spell with, and what do you end the spell with? That is essentially the coding under the mudras. It's not just the combination, it's literally what you start with, what symbol, and what you end with. Whether or not there's 2 or 3 mudras, mudra combinations inside. That's it. There's not really much to remember about this, because when you think about it, like, between 3 buttons, you're using essentially, at most, 3 spells. This is me just essentially explaining Ninja, but it's like, for a newer player, just explaining like this, you gotta learn all the mudras. It's gotta be daunting. It's gotta be scary looking. No, there's this fucking system. Once you just understand that there is a system, all of this is so fucking easy to understand.
Ninja, if you wanted that player to execute every ninjutsu a few times so that they would understand what a katan is versus a doton in an AoE
Read your fucking tooltips.
pull and how they would interact differently.
This is just like, with what I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is the point of this video at this point. He's just literally trying to teach much newer and casual players to be forced to learn all this rather than explore. Encourage people to explore. Encourage them to explore. That's it. Don't force them to learn. Because you're just, honestly, you're offending everyone's fucking intelligence at this point. If they have to be forced like a fucking puppy to learn where to poop. Read your fucking tooltips, encourage that instead.
Or how you'd have that ninja player learn the fundamental fact that they want to stack their mug abilities damage boost on a target with their personal trick attack boost to take down an enemy even faster.
These are not used because you're stacking them. They're both used for 2 separate purposes. Mug is to increase your group's damage and to get extra Ninki. Even like the increase of Ninki is essentially an old effect from how Mug used to be, but Mug is essentially just a 2-minute buff for your team. Trick attack is your 1-minute cooldown. You just want to do more damage every 1 minute. Sure, you want to do more damage. Like, your 1 minute increase damage within your 2 minutes. But it's like they're not really related. That's just you doing your burst on time. That's you just doing your rotation. They're not really related that much. This is not you just needing to stack. But why do you need to stack? Explain that. No, you're not going to explain that because you don't fucking know how to play ninja. Like, for example, you want to use Kasatsu under Trick Attack because Kasatsu increase the potency of some of your spells, particularly Hyosho Renryu or Gokumeku if you're doing AoE. You want that because it does increase potency. You want it to use Inside Trick Attack because it increases that potency by another 10%. And the cooldown is also 1 minute. This example would work. But stacking Trick Attack into Mug, that is not the fucking example. Read the fucking tools. Is Call also banned from balance? Is this a despair situation? Is Call banned for balance again? Because I'm so fucking confused. Why do these people just not read fucking tooltips? And then they make guides.
And maybe even put it on the timer and show them that in the game. Like, be like, oh wow, look at how much quicker this was. Like, give them that instantaneous feedback, just like...
Do your mudras on the timer.
Kind of like Pavlovian theory. It just gives them that feedback and like give them like something positive. And I do have to say, make it pass and fail. Instant feedback and make them learn their kit. Or if you're on a warrior and you're in like a warrior learning trial, like what I'm talking about here, say you're chained down and you can't use damage abilities and the enemy is just whipping you like straight out of Balmung's quicksand, and I want that training lesson to combine thrill of battle with bloodletting with equilibrium, or they see themselves get absolutely obliterated.
The point I'm making is like you don't use specifically thrill of battle with equilibrium and bloodletting. You use it in very much different and selective environments. Like, nobody uses a cooldown like Thrill of the Battle specifically to use it for equilibrium and bloodletting. Bloodletting, maybe, but depends on the fight.
Now, you let me know in the comments section, but is it a fear of failure or a lack of failure leading to a lack of confidence, which is giving you that initial fear of failure? Now, people will ask,
what?
Don't players experience that level of failure in general?
Ah! Stop it. What the fuck was it?
Leading to a lack of confidence, which is giving you that initial fear of failure.
No.
Now, people will ask, don't players
What did he just say? I have no idea.
experience that level of failure in general? No, they don't. That's the exact problem, is we have players that are never pushed to use their kit, have their corpse dragged through the entire game by others. I'm feeling like I'm of the mind that we need to start introducing damage cutoffs if we want to see people improve. I so often, way too often, am seeing myself outdo DPS as divine from the stars above and crystal balls and magicians. And these...
What the fuck is he even talking about? Also, I just realized, did he ever transition? Okay, he hasn't done T as a scholar, because I'm not seeing footage of that. He literally just skipped through it and goes back to warrior.
These DPS are at best doing their 1-2-3 combo.
Also, I don't believe he's at doing DPS unless he's playing with casuals or in a guild hest. Like, let's not fucking kid ourselves. Sometimes there will be new players that are just not doing enough damage and you will ODPS them. Because they just don't know what they're doing. But let's be... Who the fuck are we kidding? That's not every fucking situation.
Combo, if not literally just one, with like a 2 eventually sprinkled in there. Now, if we take a step back, can we blame them? It's worked so far to get them to level 90, the current max level, so who is surprised if you ingrain this in them that they do just that? And to be super duper clear, because I know I'll get a comment, I am not saying to force them to parse or be like even the top 50th percentile. I mean,
Interesting example, but okay.
in the most basic fundamental damage checks, like just above doing a basic 1-2-3, like actually engaging and participating in the content. Because even recently, to cap 900 tomestones a week, I've gone into many an expert roulette the past few months, and way more often. And I've had runs literally go from 11 minutes, and then others go to 25 or actually past 25 minutes. And I'm still just spamming Art of War the same as always, and that's just DPS variance, and that is freaking fudging crazy. And I said fudging. So
What the fuck is he talking about? Am I fucking high? I feel like he lost the plot. Like, I'm not gonna rewind anymore because he keeps fucking losing the plot at this point.
when I'm talking about this, I am not talking top 5th percentile stuff. I am talking, is this person a sentient, breathing, living being? Levels of damage expectation.
I see him talking about stupid shit and like not understanding the mid sheet for T. But then he's just like this whole video about just throwing shade at people who are like less skilled or less understanding. Like even if people do read their tooltips, it's gonna take a second for them to actually keep utilizing those skills effectively. It's like if you have a lot of tools, like, leveling is always going to be the 1% of your total gameplay. The fact that they got to a certain level while not understanding some skills, let's be honest, it's not that surprising. Because like leveling is always going to be like the most 1% of your total gameplay, because you're going to do most of the stuff at max level, right? But like it's going to take a second to utilize all your skills effectively, even if you did read your tooltips. Reading your tooltips is a big help, though. But like, why is Cole throwing a lot of shade at these like lower skilled level like players? What is this call out like towards like people who? I don't know. I feel like Cole is just being very cocky towards a lot of players that just like. I don't even understand what the fuck is the topic of this video anymore. Whatever.
Now let's talk about healing. There's an even bigger issue here where the content in general outside of Savage and Ultimates has been dulled so extremely hard that when there is finally a time, just as an example, to use Asuna to cleanse a target, you have them in like a deer in headlights going, whoa! And I'll admit the Asuna button for myself has been relegated even in my own hotbars to Narnia. And that's not even getting into the healing requirements of the content.
He made a lot of Mediator Summer, Mediator. I don't fucking care. I don't care about Mediator. But what he's just making noise and just throw shade at people who don't understand their skills. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Gaming. Fucking hope so. Welcome in.
It's so wildly, overwhelmingly lenient that it is trivial to get through anything below an extreme trial, and even in extreme trials, I'd argue is too easy in general too. The current expansion.
Motherfucker cleared one ultimate, he thinks everything's trivial now. Holy shit.
The only extreme trials that I felt pressed to heal, like really genuinely truly enjoyed it, was Barbaricha. I have a video on this channel from like over
Barbaricha? What about other ones? Or why Barbaricha? Just because there's a multi-hit raid wide? That is very unspecific though. Bring more examples, please. How's it going? It's going. It's going. That's it. We're trying to get to the bottom of this fucking video, but every time I watch a call video, he just goes off the rails very quickly. And halfway, it's become a trend where halfway through his video, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck he's talking about anymore. He just starts making like gurgling and animal noises and just saying words anymore. I'm gone. I'm missing the point like for ages now.
a like year and a half ago or something on Barbaricha, and how I thought it was, and I still say this, was probably the most fun that I've had in Extreme Trials wise this expansion. I love Seed of Sacrifice too. We have some good ones, but this expansion in particular, Barbaricha, really stood out. I was like, oh, give me more of this. It was so good, especially when we didn't have the gear. Oh, we have some good ones, but this expansion in particular, Barbaricha, really stood out. I was like, oh, give me more of this. It was so good, especially when we didn't have the gear. Oh.
He liked this, but not Zeromus? I'm just surprised, like, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck exactly did he like so much that he's making animal noises right now. I don't know, I'm thinking of getting into Final Fantasy XIV MMO, so watching people play LoL. I'm gonna be real, I'm probably not the channel for this. I am helpful towards new players, but I'm very critical of a lot of players. I'm probably not the person to kind of to kind of ask for help getting into the 14. My advice would be, in order to get into Final Fantasy 14, is to not get into it and just play Hades instead. Hades 2 is also really good. Hollow Knight is kind of cool, tight as well. Ow. That'd be my advice.
Oh, amazing. Golbez was also
Stop. Fuck's sake.
amazing. And then specifically, very specifically, the final phase of Abyssal Fraction was super fun as a healer. For Zodiac and
You like the last phase, but not anything until then? Why? Why does he just say, I like this, therefore it's a good fight, but he's not really specifying anything. I'm trying to understand his point. I don't know why I keep doing this. I keep giving him the benefit of the doubt, but he just makes fucking stimming tangents off topic, and he just makes regurgitating animal noises. Like, the one good point about this video is that I'm happy he's not talking about fucking fiance troubles or breaking up or that someone cheated on him or some other fucking weird thing.
Hydaelyn, like literally Hydaelyn especially, I was solo healing that the first week. Back to healers and tutorials though, make brutal, gritty, climactic tutorials for healers. Like make a scholar player see firsthand the difference in barrier size and what they can survive from using basic sucker to, I guess I should say consultation with Dawn Trail, but to regular deployed spread low on a target.
You get spread low in Shadowbringers. When are you gonna start fucking teaching them about crit procs and spread lows? They gotta learn something until fucking Shadowbringers. This is bad advice. Like, making players fucking see their skills and forcing them to use them, that would be forcing them into particular gameplay. That means their jobs do not have individuality enough for them to kind of stem towards their own enjoyable gameplay. Especially casual players. The more high-end ones, they're going to figure this out on their own. They're going to do the spreadsheets, they're going to do the studying, they're going to figure this out. The game should not be forcing people to figure out their jobs. The game should be forcing them to read their fucking tooltips, though.
Then add in Fey Illumination, see what happens then. You get that heal boost to the initial barrier, and then you also get that 5%, which I guess is but 5% mitigation on top of it, and then add Protraction before you deploy it. See how those effects
Add protraction before the crit add low.
stack, and then
Not before you spread it. Healing increase needs to come before you apply the fucking shield.
add Dissipation, add another 20% boost to that, and then, for the hell of it, let's see how big of a barrier we can crank out on our own and add in Sraph's Barrier and Mitigation.
See, that right there, what he did, was bad advice. That right there was, use all your cooldown. So he just said, see how big you can make your shields by using one. So that's Recitation, Deployment Tactics, Fey Elimination, Seraph. What else did he say? Protraction, so that's 5 cooldowns. So he just told us to use 5 cooldowns and see how big you can make your shield. Oh, Dissipation as well. So he's telling us to use Fey Elimination and Dissipation. So he's telling us to use 6 cooldowns. Some of them are 3 minutes, some of them are 2 minutes, just to see how you can make a big shield. That is bad advice. Manage your cooldowns better. Big shields are great, but you can do without using fucking 6 cooldowns.
Otherwise, the Scholar and their allies, if you don't do all that, will die past Veil, which sounds brutal, but
What the fuck is he talking about? They'll be fine with soil and some shield. Don't be fucking stupid.
is it more brutal to teach them in a tutorial environment what their kit does versus throw them into average content that never, ever teaches them this, and then be like, oh yeah, here's the mit sheet for T. Good luck.
I mean, Square Enix doesn't give you a mid sheet for T. And Cole, you don't even follow the spreadsheet for T. We figured that out earlier, that you don't even follow the fucking cooldowns correctly. So, fuck's sake. Oh, golly. So, am I- like, again, this is just like, you're just like questioning everyone's intelligence and forcing everyone to be treated like fucking children. To be forced into a situation where they gotta learn their jobs. And at this point, you're also gonna make, like, if this would be implemented, the game would be very frowned upon, because it would mean the game treats its player base all equally like children. None of the fucking games do this shit. Some of them will teach you basic skills, how to do a basic attack. That's it. After that, you're on your own. If you're gonna get to level 90 or level 100 in both any MMO, it's like you're on your own. You're not gonna be taught these fucking skills. I don't know any big MMO that is popular and requires this much hand-holding. Like, this is a very stupid advice, and it just annoys me that you keep repeating it.
And obviously, for the healers, this would expand into more edge cases, but like give them clear tutelage on the abilities and why they are there and why they are important. Like, I always hear people say that Lustrate and Xcog are the same button, and that Xcog should just be obliterated because it's button bloat. And
Who the fuck says that? I've never heard that. I think people who don't fucking read their tooltips say that. Again, read your fucking tooltips.
And how to say it? It's easy to say that in standard fare content. True, I get it. But once again, I go back to that team mitigation sheet and show you that we toss out extremely frequently recitation Xcog. And given that recitation is still in the current game at 90 seconds cooldown, although Dawn Trail is lowering it to 60, I'm actually really hyped about that. This is really, really, like, important. Yes, I'm gonna acknowledge there's a lustrate on there. We could use an Xcog there. I personally prefer to use an Xcog if I can get away with it, but the 45-second cooldown kind of makes it a little tight at times.
The reason people use Xcog is to help people who are gonna take damage. Lustrate is used to top up after you take damage. Different buttons. So, again, this just comes down to me asking politely, read your fucking tooltips.
Especially with all the mechanics, but I digress. Just give them scenarios to showcase the differences of the abilities and why. Or let's talk about Dissipation, probably the single most crazy ability, like in terms of like how powerful it is, yet how underused it is. Put them in specific tutorial scenarios to show them that it can be popped for more Aether Flow, and that if you cast variabilities that are ticking on cooldown before you use Dissipate, you're only losing the Trickle Heal. Obviously that can branch.
Excuse me, what the fuck did you just say? Hold on.
Dissipation, probably the single most crazy ability, like in terms of like how powerful it is, yet how underused it is. Put them in specific tutorial scenarios to show them that it can be popped for more Aether Flow, and that if you cast variabilities that are ticking on cooldown before you use Dissipate, you're only losing the Trickle Heal. Obviously that can branch into different healing scenarios, different barrier amplification scenarios, as well as just energy drain opener scenarios. But this ability is really, really strong, and it is criminally underrated. Probably, again, just because it isn't shown. Hey, what are you actually losing if you've already used all your fairy abilities, or if you intentionally pop the fairy abilities before going into it? And that's...
You don't even need to use all your fairy abilities, because they're not gone for that long. Like, you get 3 Aether Flow stacks. Even if your berry is gone, you still got 3 Aether Flow stacks worth of cooldowns, plus recitation if you're smart enough. Plus increased healing, so you can sucker if you're not a DPS whore. What the fuck does trickle down healing mean? I don't know what scenario you would use dissipation after certain spells. I don't know. It's just... He keeps just yammering. I feel like he just listened to either Momo's video, either seen one of my videos, or just listened to a decent fucking healer explain that Dissipation is a really strong fucking spell. And he's just repeating this, but he doesn't understand why. I don't know. Whatever.
That's the problem, is we are seeing people get to endgame with no idea what their character even does, and in large part, it's because we don't have situations in the main pipeline.
I'd like to, by the way, remind that this video is called Can't Be More Difficult Unless. And yet he just keeps talking about specifically forcing people to learn their skills. Like, not teach them, specifically force them to use their skills so they can learn about them, or some shit. I don't know. Me, who never used dissipation at all, use dissipation. Stop griefing.
Of the game that push them to learn these things. We don't have a bottom's medal for each of these mechanics, and the boss design being tossed. That entire boss design, I don't think I've ever seen anywhere else in the game. I could be wrong, I could just be remembering poorly, but I don't think I've ever seen it again. And I think it is such a huge, resounding loss for the game that's a little discouraging. I think the closest that we ever got to this was during, and again, this is optional content that people didn't need to participate in.
Again, he keeps bringing up specifically this boss fight in Bard's Metal, but he keeps telling people, like, his suggestion is to help people learn their spells. This is a fight that silences you and makes you not use your spells. What's the plan here? Like, the whole thing that the game that should be encouraging you, and it kind of does, but in a very poor way, is it throws puzzles at you. That's why all World of First races and raids are puzzles that turn into dances once the puzzle is solved. You need to know your kit well enough and understand your kit well enough to solve those puzzles and bring a solution from your particular job. You know what helps with that? Reading your fucking tooltips.
This was Deluvrium Reginae, where if you got slapped by mechanics, you'd get a Doom debuff and you'd just get wiped out. No one could save you if you messed up the mechanics, and goodness gracious, I was absolutely in love with that idea at the time, and I still am, and since then we've not really seen that idea come back, and
Isn't that the same thing in Baldessian Arsenal? I'm pretty sure it's the same thing in Baldessian Arsenal, right?
fully think that we could benefit from more of these ideas being added into the main storyline. This would make it so that players do need to worry about executing gameplay, and that they cannot starfish and have their miserable gameplay dragged along with
He's showing the same footage of fucking T, but I'm still not seeing him go into P2 that he claimed about on Scholar.
their corpse by their healer that is on White Mage, spamming Medica 2 over and over again. More Medica 2, more Medica 2, as their Lily gauge overcaps on Lilies, and as all of their White Mage cooldowns all.
Again, this is just throwing shade at newer players. And just saying that newer players need to be forced to get good. This video is fucking stupid. Like, normally I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, or then I just offer my opinion and just debate with the points offered in the video. But this video is just fucking stupid at this point. This video in general, what's being talked about, is kind of fucking stupid.
All of those divine benisons, all of those benedictions, all of their asylums are up and ready to be used. No, I'm casting Medica 2, sir. But they never had to do any different than that, so why would they learn how to use Asylum? Now, do I believe that this is elitist? No. No. Because what I'm suggesting here is giving the game systems, the in-game systems, which will be accessible to anyone who plays, the ability to improve, to help the players become more familiar with their particular jobs that they're playing, and for the main story questline, that main pipeline everyone needs.
You know what helps players improve? Just raiding and messing up, and then having to figure out how to resolve their mess up. That helps improve. But just forcing someone to do something is just, it's not fun. Why are you playing a game to be forced to do something rather than being encouraged to explore? I don't know.
Needs to go through to introduce mechanics like Barm's Metal did and get people truly immersed in it. Like, if a ninja at level 90 and soon to be level 100 cannot execute Doton and Katon in an expert dungeon, that player should be taught in the game and learn before they are allowed to participate in expert roulette. They should not be.
No, fuck off. Let them play how they play. You're literally teaching people how to like, the whole video started with a conversation about the healer strike. And he's currently The fuck is he talking about? You should not be allowed unless you are level. What the fuck? No, let people play the way they fucking play. Hell, if more players like that are in learning their rotation in expert, healers will have more things to do. Why? Like he says this is now elitist, yet he's talking about gatekeeping casuals or newer players from content until they get good. What the fuck is he talking about?
be hitting level 100, level 90, soon to be level 100, without knowing how to do that. I would argue that it is more cruel to put that player, to allow them to roam around the game, totally not even experiencing that job's mechanics, and spamming Fuma Shuriken at everything. Everything looks like a nail if all you have is a hammer, whatever the phrase is. Rather than, like, just teach them how to, like, do Doton, Katon, how to do Raiton. What is a Hyosho Ranryu?
You know, they learn these mudras like one by one. Like they will see that they got a notification that they got a new spell. They're gonna open their spell book. They're gonna see, oh, it's a new mudra, and I need to do this combination to get them out. Let me try it out because I can do mudras in the city. Pew pew pew. Oh, this icon changed to this spell. I learned. Like the more I think about it, what he fucking talks about is just leveling up, just with extra steps. I don't think Cole has the best interests of like the average player. This is actually generally fucking frustrating now to listen to.
This is the polar opposite of elitism. Because elitism, I know as well as I'm sure everyone else does, that it has a factor of exclusivity and other.
Yeah, gatekeeping, which is your fucking suggestion, though. Whatever.
Othering people and not letting you join the cool kids club. Sorry, we wear pink on Wednesdays and you can't sit at this table.
Isn't that literally what you just fucking said? And not allow them from expert roulettes until they learn until they're forced to go through some fucking tutorial to do their skills a couple of times. I'm so fucking done with Cole. I'm so done. This is probably gonna be the last video I react to because he just has nothing to say. He has nothing of value to say. This is just fucking scary now. Some people will listen to this and they will think, ooh, he cleared T. That's probably what I should be doing.
Ugh, imagine making fetch a thing. But in all seriousness, how can you be better if you're an elitist than anyone else if you are
I feel like, yeah, I'm not an elitist bit, but it's like, this is elitism. Like, however I think about it, this is literally elitism.
actively giving other people the tools to ramp up, to get good, to improve, to get to your level, to be able to participate. That's not how elitism works. It's like Gucci at one time.
Is she literally trying to convince people that his elitist suggestion is not elitist? Am I missing something here? Am I actually fucking high? Because I know I will look in through the comment section, there will be people that agree with him. Yeah, this is not elitist. But like, the more I think about it, this is fucking stupid to even think about.
It meant, oh wow, this person has money. And it was exclusive. What? It was elite. And now I see Gucci and my immediate thoughts are, why the fudge did you waste money to make yourself look like a ridiculous...
So, remember the previous conversation about Cascade and whatnot?
To participate. That's not how elitism works. It's like Gucci at one time meant, oh wow, this person has money. And it was exclusive. It was elite. And now I see Gucci and my immediate thoughts are, why the fudge did you waste money to make yourself look like wearing Gucci these days? Like, come on. And wear stuff that is also so miserably uncomfortable, and in my opinion is very uncomfortable.
He's ranting off. No, I'm done. This is literally a video about fucking nothing. The game could have had a whole quest about the right way to use the station. It would have been useful and fun, even expand on Scholar as a class. But it's not really necessary, is it? Because you literally read the fucking tooltip. The early ninja quests do this pretty with the early mudras. Even just note on skills that give possible use cases, but I don't mean being left to my own devices. You know why they don't fucking do that? Because at any point, a job can be reworked and their skills are going to be gone. So then, because the job is being reworked, they also have to go backtrack. All the tutorials they added to specifically do these little tutorial, like whatever the fuck you just suggested. Like they're gonna have to for every remake, any change, any like White Mages got a gap closer in Dawn Trail that they get at level 40. So now before they start leveling, they gotta like even veteran high-end raiders now have to go and do a fucking tutorial for a spell that they can read and know what they do because it appeared in level 40. This whole video is fucking dumb. I don't fucking understand anymore what Cole is even thinking. Whatever. I don't think I'll be reacting to Cole videos anymore. Just because, like, this is literally just, like, nothing but frustration anymore. Because, like, I've established that he just spreads misinformation. I've given him multiple chances at this point. I gave him, like, multiple, like benefit of the doubt. To maybe, like, at some point he's, like, he started clearing ultimates. So possibly, just possibly, he starts like reading up on something, studying up his own material. But then it just comes down to, no, he's just talking. He's just there to just monetize some content, just because he doesn't even talk on topic for most of the time. He started like off of about the healer strike, something about increasing the difficulty of the dungeons, compare the dungeons to ultimates, and then went off about forcing people to do tutorials to learn certain skills for about 20 something minutes. Comparing like then giving advice about scholars having to use like 6 separate cooldowns for one spread low. That is just not necessary. It's not necessary. In any content, I've never seen a necessity to use so many cooldowns for a spread low. Sure, it feels good. It feels cool to have a spread low. But none of the content I've done or seen so far requires you to use that many cooldowns for one fucking spread low. For one transition, mind you. Whatever. We're not gonna react to Cole videos anymore. We know he just spreads misinformation and just monetizes it at this point. I'm done.